But you do have a wonderful legacy. And I start out by, I dropped some papers. Thank you all for being here with me today to celebrate the tremendous blessing of turning 90, believe it or not. And my father, Henning, and my mother, Bday, met in Sweden. Dad brought my mother to America seeking a better life. And I heard that statement said at the conventions, the Republican and Democratic conventions, where several people got up and said, my parents came from somewhere seeking a better life. Well, that's what my mother and dad did. And they got married in June 17th, 1922 in Minneapolis. When I was 6, we moved to Wisconsin to a 40-acre farm. I have many happy childhood memories, although time with my dad was cut short. He died of streptococcus when I was 9, and my mother was then left alone with 6 children. She was a godly woman and very musical. I remember her often singing and playing her guitar. And she sang a song that I still hear her sing and can see her sing. I will sing of my Redeemer. She sang that many, many times at ladies' aids and I don't know what else. Anyway, sadly her time with us here on earth was cut short. She too died of streptococcus when I was 14. I heard a song not long ago with the following lyrics reminding me of the time of her passing. And these lyrics said, who prayed for me when Mama's gone? Who asked for forgiveness from then on? Who care enough to talk to God when her pleading voice is stopped? Who pray for me when Mama's gone? Oh, it makes me cry. Anyway, she did. When I look back on my life, I credit my mother and father for setting the example of God's love, that He created a firm and loving foundation for me and my siblings. In God's perfect timing, this foundation led us all to come to know the saving grace of Christ. So you see, although we kids had lost our parents, the Lord never let us go. I believe my mother's faithful and final prayers led all her children to a personal relationship with the Lord. After we became orphans, God directed us to families that led us to His saving grace. Her prayers were answered, and I would like to think that she prayed so often for us that she even stockpiled prayers in heaven for the coming generations. So you see, although we kids have lost our parents, the Lord never let go of us. And I believe my mother's prayers led all her children to a personal relationship with the Lord. After we became orphans, God directed us. What? Did I read that before? That sounds good. I can't think of anything more important than praying for our families. Can you? Prayers for our families have a lot to do with them walking with the Lord. In 3 John 1:4, we read these words, I have no greater joy than this, to hear my children walking with the Lord. And I'm real thankful. Lolly and I did our best to keep joy in our home and in our lives, and we felt it was crucial for our children to see and experience joy, just as the verse says. When I look back and think of the years that Lolly and I raised our kids, we always tried to do our best. We brought them up in the training and admonition of the Lord, Ephesians 6:4. We had our children go to church even at times when they didn't want to go. We all have already felt there is something good about getting children involved in church. Lolly and I found that as our kids were growing up, they would tell and retell stories that they heard in Sunday school and church. Not long ago, while listening to a television show that I like to watch, they call Daystar, comes from Dallas, I heard a preacher teaching on the subject of families. I will never forget one of his quotes. Every father has the responsibility to make sure his family gets to heaven. As the patriarch of our family, These words made a profound effect on me and have thought back on them many times. It is my desire to have every member of our family and future generations of our family know the importance of these words so that the Christian legacy of our family continues until the Lord returns. And that's the theme of my thing here, you can tell. It's the legacy of our family. In Psalms 145, we read these words, "Great is the Lord, He is the most worthy of praise. No one can measure His greatness. Let each generation tell its children of your mighty acts. Let them proclaim your power." And that's kind of what's been happening in our family. One generation telling the next generation about God and how to live. Do you belong to the family of God? I will most likely leave this earth before most of you, and I know I will be reunited with Lolly. We want to meet and greet each one of you at Heaven's Gate to spend eternity with us. I would like to conclude by reading a chorus of the following hymn. The words speak of my gratitude to the Lord. In my younger years, I was not always faithful to the Lord. And these words from the song is, "Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning new mercies I see. All I have needed thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness to me." And He has been so faithful to me. I could look back all the way to when I was about 4 years old. And just, I know God took care of me the whole time. I would have been dead by now, especially in World War II. I would like to thank each one of you again for coming here to celebrate with me this milestone in my life.